currently getting sued by my HOA.
Why are you taking pictures of my car?
I'm with the HOA.
Excuse me. Please get out of the pool now.
I went to my HOA meeting last night. I walked into an episode of The Real Housewives of New York.
So we got to talk about these out of control HOAs. I mean, it is absolute insanity what these HOAs are allowed to do to people. They're making people get foreclosed on. They're evicting people. If you are retiring and you're living in an HOA, it is one of the costs that can continuously go up. You will never have a precise amount that you'll be paying for the HOA in perpetuity. You'll be at the beck and call of whoever is the president tomorrow on whether they want to raise your dues or not. And you know what? There's not one thing you can do about it. That blows my mind. So let's get to it. Let's talk about these wild HOAs, because some of these videos that are popping up on TikTok are insanity. Let's get to it.
I just got a letter from my homeowners association because Brian has been fishing in the pond across the street, and they stated that they will be fining us $1,000 because he has been trespassing in people's yards and fishing in a very delicate ecosystem, which is costing the HOA a lot of money. I'm gonna head out to Costco to kind of get some of this rage out, because the level of stupidity of these HOAs across the country is just insane. And my kid doesn't trespass. He has asked every single person by knocking on their door and said, "May I come into your yard to fish in the pond?" He has been respectful. He has been polite. He's fishing.
This touches my heart as somebody that was in that position and has a son today, would love to go fishing across the street. You got to really question when you give authority to people that are not in the government, and the government's bad enough, but you give up authority to somebody that can just get on a board and change the way you're able to use your property. Be very careful. Be very careful. We got to talk. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I have seen people, as a real estate agent here, I have seen people lose their property, some of these petty fines, or just make the property so terrible to live at that they just give up the property and say, you know what, fire sale it, I'm out of here. A bad HOA can hurt the price point of your property faster than anything. It just gets to be known as, you know, I don't want to have to deal with that guy on the board over there when I go to live in this property. It can hurt just as much as it can help.
Plan on ever buying a home. Do not, I repeat, do not ever get a home with an HOA. I am currently getting sued by my HOA. If you don't know what an HOA is, it's a homeowners association. So when you buy a home, like in a community or whatever, they're the people who like take care of things within the neighborhood. If there's amenity, trash sometimes, you know, lawn services and like that type of thing. I first purchased my home like 5 years ago now. When I first got my home, my HOA started at $200, which was, you know, that's about average. It made sense. My community is very like, it's real basic, okay? Like there's no gym, there's no security, there's no gate. They do have a pool, but it's like a community pool. It's not one of those like cute, nice pools. It's like very like, I don't even want to swim in it. I have not swam in the pool since I've been there. Like it's rough, okay? Since then, my HOA rate has gone up to $450 per month.
There it is. There it is. They just keep raising the HOA. It's going to continuously go up for the entire duration that you own this property.
It has changed since the $200 per month. It's just gone up. Apparently, they're just allowed to do that with no rhyme or reason. Like, I don't know, inflation, aliens, they can say whatever they want, but the price can just go up and you really like have no say. Earlier this year, my HOA decided that they need to waterproof the crawl space under the units. This cost us homeowners an additional $500 per month for 7 months. So the $450 plus $500 plus my mortgage. That's like 2 mortgages. So all of a sudden my HOA is now $950 per month.
It's as much as a mortgage. This is a perfect example of when an HOA due becomes the same amount as a mortgage or more. You know, in condos right now, the HOA dues are more than the mortgage. Be careful what you ask for, and if you're not showing up to these meetings, these people get in control and they do this kind of stuff. You know,
I have all my stuff on auto pay because I ain't trying to remember like where my money gotta go. I'm gonna forget. So when the rate changed, my auto pay just stayed, you know, what I had it set at. So I missed the first couple payments. Then I peeped what was going on, and I reached out to my HOA like, yo, I ain't got $950 per month just for my HOA. Like, I ain't got it. I don't have it, and that's crazy. So what do they decide to do? They decide to hire lawyers to basically force me.
You know one of the reasons why they do it? To get people out of the community they don't want in it. They just raise the price point of stuff to the point where everybody else is like, you know what, I'm gone. Or 5 or 6 of them band together. They want that person's house. They raise the price of everything knowing they can't pay. And then when they stick it on the market because they've got all these backdated fines they're going to get it closed on, they just buy it out from underneath them. That's what happens. She was just get her house bought for less than market value because it's got a bunch of HOA fines on it. These people are crooked. A lot of them are crooked. There's some good people on HOA boards. One of my best friends is on an HOA board, bless his heart. But there are some really bad people on some of these boards. And most of them have zero qualification to be there. They don't know what they're doing. And when you fight them in court, you're fighting them with your money. The HOA dues are funding their attorney to fight you. And then when the attorney's fees are paid out, because when you lose, they get the attorney's fees and then you get it stacked on them. And if you knew, a few of the people in the HOA are probably attorneys, and they're the ones undermining this whole thing. They're the grand masters of the plan of how all this works. And that's who you're fighting.
To give them money I don't have. On top of the $950, which I think over the course of like 7 months had totaled up to like $3,500 total. So now on top of that, they're now also charging me for their lawyer fees for the lawyers they hired to sue me. Make it make sense. How, where, in what world does that make sense? Now I owe my HOA $10,000
with interest.
And I'm just like, hello? I'm trying to negotiate with these people like, yo, I don't have that. Can we just settle for like the actual amount of like the fucking crawl space or whatever? Like, I'll figure out that money and just get, and they're like, no, you need to pay our lawyer fees too. Okay, well, I ain't got, like, I literally don't have it. What you want me to do? I live in Atlanta, so I don't know if it's different in other states, but here, baby, in Atlanta, they got...
That's wild. I mean, one thing to be able to govern what goes on around the house on the external. Another is to say what goes on underneath your house. What are they going to be saying next? Oh, can't have that PVC pipe. You got to have copper. Can't have PEX. We don't allow that in here. Oh, by the way, you can't park that Tesla in your garage because if it catches fire, it might catch my house on fire and the next person's house on fire. Oh, you got to have this insurance policy. Oh... those drapes in that house, I just don't like looking at them through the window. You know what? Your bedspread can't be a certain color. That's the way this is going. And be careful, people, when you give up your rights, your property rights, for the sake of security, whoever you're giving it over to, who's going to be the arbitrator of that? That's the thing about free speech. Who is the arbitrator of speech? In this situation, who's going to be the arbitrator? Who's going to be the mediator? Who's going to be the person that can levy fines, that can take your property away? Who are you giving that power to? And those meetings that are on a Wednesday afternoon that nobody can make, or we all have lives. We all have jobs. We're doing things to keep our family fed. And I got to worry about the HOA putting some light over my house. Code enforcement's bad enough. And many of these things that we're seeing here, if it was out of control, code enforcement would take care of it. You don't need HOA rolling around with a camera. I mean, we deal with it all the time here on the west side of Pensacola. Code enforcement fixes it if you just call them. And they'll write a real ticket. I get everybody wants to be able to, control that somebody can't do something with their property. Well, I have a problem with that as a person in America that wants to be able to reign over my property. Whether you can control what I do with my mailbox or my shrubs or if I want to put a boat in the yard. And I think the state of Florida has spoken that we've got to limit some of these powers of these HOAs because they just have too much authority. And most of them have zero qualifications to be on the board.
Excuse me. Please get out of the pool now.
Okay. Let's do call the police. Anybody know this person?
Yeah, he's a resident.
Well, he's a resident. He should know the rules.
Yeah.
Folks, it's not a big serious deal. Let him do his thing, man. It's fine, okay?
Well, we can let him do his thing.
There you go.
If Collier County comes around, well,
I know, you said that once and sees him. I understand. It's okay.
all right.
Good work, though.
I mean, my thing with this is like, pick your battles, man. Pick your battles. Is that a criminal? No. Pick your battles.
Why are you taking pictures of my car?
I'm with the HOA, and an
Yeah.
unlicensed car is not allowed to be parked in the driveway. It has to be in the garage, or
Right.
it could be covered with a car cover.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let
And your name is what?
Ashley Eager, and I left you some Charwell information,
Correct.
and so there's some information there. You can go online and sign the documents that say that. And then also I need to let you know the pool code because I didn't write it in there.
Okay. Cool. I've got the cool code, and so the house is owned by Mike Bagwell. He's the one that maintains the HOA, so you can contact Mike.
Okay.
And I appreciate you not creeping around my house.
Well, I tried to come and knock on your door, so just letting you know.
And then take a picture of my tag, and
I will
so.
not submit the tag number, but I will have to submit the expiration.
Okay. I thought you guys did all that stuff from the
Passively aggressively telling you, look, there's no way I could let or be cool with somebody just randomly walking around my property, my personal property, personal residence, looking for a violation. How do you vote that into action? There's no way I could vote that into action. Somebody walking around my house looking for a violation.
and the curb, and we're coming onto people's property.
Well, it's pretty obvious that you backed the car in, so.
Well, actually, that's how they dropped it off when I asked them to tow it. So,
Okay, well.
do you have a job?
Yeah, yes, I work from home.
So,
HOA trumps personal rights. It's like up to you to prove why you backed it into your garage or your driveway. Why did you do that on your own property?
okay, cool. All right. Well, thanks for letting me know.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Way too much time on your hands. I remember I got in an argument with a guy. This dude was totally out there. He's a long time ago on this channel. Came in front of my house and my yard to argue with me about my street light. He didn't even live on this side of the neighborhood. He lives on the other side of the neighborhood and wanted to tell me about my street light on top of my house. And I don't even live in an HOA. And he thought he was the HOA president. Like, for me, as long as you keep your place decent, whatever on your yard doesn't spill over on mine doesn't affect me, I don't care. You know, code enforcement will issue you a ticket for nastiness, okay? Like, I don't need her looking at my car in my driveway.
So my parents lost our childhood home to the HOA. The house was paid off for, but they had a violation that resulted in them losing their home. So the ironic thing about it is that they evicted them and threw everything out of the house, changed the doorknob, but also gave them a violation of everything being thrown out the house. But the HOA is the one who did it.
Way too much authority to do something like that. I mean, make sure you read all of your CCRs. Know them backwards and front. Make sure you have an attorney. Make sure you and 10 or 15 or 100 of your other HOA friends band together, get your own attorney. And if you document requests enough, not an attorney here, only a real estate agent, see this stuff all the time, just is my opinion. I would request as many documents from that HOA as possible, times 50, times 100, however many people you can get to do it. And make sure they do it correctly, because odds are they probably don't know their own CCRs. They're just winging it out there, writing it on a notepad, and people are just paying it. There are rules, and Florida has limited a lot of these HOA rules, and it's a great thing. And you've got to make them produce documents. So make sure they know their filings with the DPPR or any of these corporations that run these HOAs. Make sure their paperwork's straight. Make sure their banking is straight. Request all those documents, and I guarantee you they get tired of printing them. And at some point, you could stage a little coup. I'm all about a little coup on some HOAs. You know, this is entertainment purposes only, but I'm just saying that I would not let Joe on the board try to ruin my life without going down without a fight. I would never live in an HOA. Personally, I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't. But there's some really great properties out there, and I understand why an HOA would be a thing. But like condos, like that's a totally different cookie. But you're seeing in the condos in the state of Florida, with these condo studies, with these structural integrity studies, made a million videos about it, that they can just raise the HOA to cover all these studies and then get a super majority on the board, come in, get your property for half price, and you're out. Because you can't pay the assessment that they put down for six figures, $100,000, $200,000, $50,000. They're getting people by the droves with this. Just watch my videos on that. It's crazy.
I reported a car parked illegally in a handicap spot, and now the HOA president is in turn ordering keys to mine and my boyfriend's condo. He was then trying to convince me that the bylaws actually state that they are entitled to a set of our keys, and it's not. There's nowhere in the bylaws does it say that. And I told him that. I said, we have granted you right of entry every single time that there has needed to be a repair or an installation or anything to do with the limited common elements. We've worked with you. But no, for whatever reason, me reporting a car pissed him off, and he's ordering keys now. And it's like he doesn't even have a leg to stand on.
Little power move right there. I can guess right now what was going on. That president was using that handicap spot for his own parking spot. And by you challenging his authority, as a narcissist, he's got to get back at you. And the only way he can think of it is writing you a fine and requesting your keys with a total power move. I mean, what more of a power move is it than to request somebody's house keys? Your personal residence. Give me those keys. Give them to me. And if that doesn't go far enough, he can write you some crazy stupid ticket. Some crazy fine that you've got to try to fight. And how are you going to fight it? In front of his board with his people and friends on the board. How are you going to fight that? You're going to hire an attorney to go fight the $150, $200 ticket that he gave you that will be accruing interest on your property that he can foreclose on you for, that his buddy will buy for pennies on the dollar when you lose it? Think about this. This is corruption in action. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and you gave somebody with no qualifications, with just a bunch of time on their hands, a position of power, put their friends on the board, and now they can force you to give over your keys. And it might not even be in the CCR, just made it up. And if it's not, they can put it in them. You really got to start calling your legislature to limit the authority of these HOAs. It is crooked, crooked, crooked. A lot of them are crooked. Some aren't. A lot of them are. Just saying.
The homeowners associations are above the law, and they can basically make you do whatever the heck they want. Homeowners associations create bylaws, and if you live in a community with an association, you absolutely have to abide by them. I recently had a client come to me that wanted to sell his home because he got fined for sidewalk chalk, having a bike on his porch, and having a tomato plant on his back deck. And did you know that those associations are typically made up of people that live in the neighborhood that get to enforce those rules? Every now and then, they can get a little power hungry. I was actually on the board of a community that I lived in several years ago, and there was this fuzzy little guy that wanted to make life hell on everybody. He was handing out fines like they were friendship bracelets at a Taylor Swift concert. And if you don't pay those fines, the homeowners association has the ability to put a lien on your home and potentially even foreclose on you. If you're buying something that has an association, you need to know what you're getting into before you do it. Review all of the HOA docs and bylaws before you buy a home, because if you plan on having hot girl summer down at that community swimming pool and there's a Karen on the board that wants to enforce shoulder pads and one-piece suits, it might put a damper on it. Homeowners associations are above the law.
That's totally true. Everything he said, make sure you read those CCRs. Make sure you talk to your real estate agent. Don't hire any real estate agent. Hire somebody that's done deals in that community or in that area and has dealt with HOAs, because they can be very complex. So many rules, especially if you have dogs, cats, or multiple cars or things like that.
Got a violation in the mail from my HOA. They said that I am in violation because there are weeds along my garage, and if further action is not taken, I will be fined. Now, they were here about 5 days ago. I'll admit I haven't been out there in about a week, but let's go find out what this violation really is. Now, I share a garage, so my garage only has 3 sides. So there's the garage, the back, and then the side here. So here's the front. No weeds. The back is a big lilac bush. There's no weeds in here. It's just lilac. So all that's left is the side. We're gonna go along the garage because everything's planted here, right? So I got plants, plant. I still see no, I need to resand this. That's fair. This is rose bush. And there's the violation. Found her. That's the one. Better not find me. I'm going to pull it right.
Wow. I'm actually surprised they let him have those planters. That was surprising to me. But what do you think? Comments down below. We all learn from each other's comments, so don't forget to comment.
I went to my HOA meeting last night, and I think I may have found a new hobby for myself. I walked into an episode of The Real Housewives of New York. People were throwing shade. People were throwing side eyes. And I'm like, I don't know any of these people. We had to vote on things. And in order to, like, move through the meeting, everybody had to, like, say aye and, like, put forward a motion. I really could have used a glossary last night. But I loved it. And I can't wait for next year.
I tell you, the watch meetings are pretty hilarious, too. The neighborhood watches. I thought I was at a scene of an HOA. And they just thought that you could just arrest people for anything and stop people for anything. If the cops didn't do it, then they were crazy. I saw them argue about cats on leashes one day for an hour. I wanted to get up and walk out. But what do you do with that? And then people wind up not going to the meetings, and then nobody can get anything done because there's that one guy there that wants to be in authority or in power. He'll try to destroy anybody that doesn't give him power because he has to have absolute power. And anybody that tries to run against him, he must create rumors and destroy and politics within the neighborhood. Nothing ever winds up happening because of all the infighting. It is absolute insanity. That's why I'll never run for county commissioner. They wanted to make me county commissioner. I said, absolutely not. Y'all make my blood pressure go up just listening to it.
Right? Oh my God. Who starts a meeting with such hostility?
So many years ago, I was an HOA vice president, and then I was voted in to be president. It didn't last very long. I stepped down, and I'll tell you why. I quickly realized that there are two types of people that are your neighbor. The ones who just want to be left the fuck alone, and those who want to be told what to do and to also tell other people what to do. Now, the more you have of the first one, the more chances you have of successfully doing the following. Pretty much absolving your HOA. A lot of people don't realize that HOAs are run very messy and sometimes illegally. The wording, the contract, all that shit is just trash. And there are companies, legal firms out there that just prey on neighbors and neighborhoods for what? Just a fucking paycheck. That's all it is. Truth is, we don't need HOAs because a lot of the rules and bylaws and blah, blah, blahs and all that shit run parallel with city ordinances. At least I know mine did. Now, I know there's other HOAs out there that are just fucking Karens. You can't park your truck in your driveway. You know, that kind of shit. Those are the ones who like to tell other people what to do and to be basically ruled. You got a lot of those kind of people, you're fucked. But yeah, that's what I tried to do. In my instance, I was like, hey, let's pretty much bring this HOA down to nothing. And, you know, because apparently the rules in our county, we were supposed to have an HOA. And I was like, okay, let's just bring it down to the level of the rules that are set forth by the city, the city ordinances. Like, if we complain about your tall grass to the city and the city says, yeah, you have tall grass, then we can double whammy. We can hit you with the HOA. Takes a lot of the heavy lifting out of it too. Like, hey, if the city thinks you're wrong, then you're wrong. Nope. The majority of the people didn't even want to do that. They wanted more rules. The point I'm trying to make in all this is the following. Depending on where you live, depending on your county, you can rise up against your HOA. At the very least, you can give them a lot of headaches. Do your own research, get your own legal representation, because I promise you, they're probably doing it illegally. End of the day, I fucking hate HOAs. They do not need to exist. Because a lot of the meetings turn into what you just saw.
So what do you think? Comments down below. I think a lot of this boils down to is local governments don't want to reign rule over a lot of these properties. So they're like, you know what? Neighborhoods, you do it. That way they don't have to maintain things. They don't have to have as many code enforcement agents because, like, I think on the west side here in Pensacola, there's only like 1 or 2 or 3, and they are overworked. So they want the local communities to do it. And that's something, you know, like, be very careful when you give up your security and your freedom. Be very careful because one day you might look up and that same board that you thought was a great idea is throwing down thunder on your property and fining you, and all of a sudden you're looking at foreclosure or wanting to move out because that guy got elected on the board, that is now terrible for the community. And be very careful when you ask for these things. Same way with local officials, because they do the same thing to you. But comment down below if you have a situation like this. What's your story? Because people learn from each other in the comment section. Get an attorney, get a CPA. Don't be afraid to file for documents and fight the man. I mean, don't let them do this to you, and band together and you can fight this stuff. There's no way children should be getting fined for going fishing, and people for not wanting to live in a community because they're worried about, well, I get a $200 fine for a weed, or leaving the trash can out, or things that are minor things. I could not live in that community. But that's all I got, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.